Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It is June 2nd, 2022. Hard to believe we're at the end of the year and having another moment with our retirees. And this one came up so fast, and for so many of you. We start by reading our vision statement. The Ashland Public Schools is a forward-thinking district that cultivates the academic and social-emotional growth of each student through a supportive, collaborative, innovative, and challenging environment. Students will develop into self-motivated, resilient, lifelong learners who embrace their role as responsible contributors to a global community. This meeting is being recorded by WACA Cable TV. Our order of business this evening includes the opening procedures, agenda review and adoption, presentations including the recognition of retirees. We will not have the Student Advisory Council this evening. We will have some time for public comment. We will have principal reports, update on the site council work. Item number 2, we are going to put off the appointment on school nurses. Item number 3, approval of Give Kids the World Trip 2023. And then item number 4 and item number 5, the superintendent update and the assistant superintendent update, we will not have this evening. Warrant approvals with Mr. Kendall. Approval of minutes May 19th, 2022, acceptance of gifts and donations, committee reports of activities, member updates, action items, and then we will adjourn. So I'll take the roll call and ask if you're all okay with the order of business this evening. Tina Fatanides?
Here and yes.
Paul Kendall?
Yes.
Aaron Williams?
And yes.
Mark Terry?
Let the committee know that I'm planning to leave around 6:40, 45 to get over to the middle school for a course presentation.
Well, maybe it'll be a short meeting, we'll be all done by then. And this is the first time I think all 5 of us are in this room all together since before COVID, and seeing so many of your faces here and so many faces that are just part of the thread of this district. It's just, I don't know, how did we get here? So I'll start. Jim, I don't know if you wanted to open the meeting, and then I will do my portion after you've had a chance to say something if you want. I will say, retirees, when we do call your name, you have, I'd ask you to just come up to the podium. You don't have to say anything, but you can if you want to. And I'll be there to present you with something, but I'm going to open it up to Mr. Adams for a minute first.
Great, thank you, Lori. I just wanted to start by saying thank you to all the retirees tonight. I wish I was there in person. My son's receiving an award tonight, so I'm actually in his high school right now, and they're starting to corral us into the auditorium. But 213 years plus of experience is retiring from our system, from administrators to educators, paraprofessionals, teachers, nutrition services, student services, et cetera. But I couldn't be happier and more proud of the work that you all have done for this community, for the students of Ashland, for that combined 213 years of experience. So thank you so much. Like I said, I wish I was there in person to congratulate you. I will certainly make sure I'm come around to your classroom and or office and congratulate you personally over the next couple of weeks. But that's all I really wanted to say. But I thought it was really important that I check in before I go into the auditorium with you all. So thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Jim. Congratulations on your son's award.
Thank you.
All right, folks, are we ready? So we are going to start with, and I was never very good at math. I had almost 200 years worth of retirees. Maybe he knows something that I don't, or maybe he is just better at math, but.
I added it up, Laura.
What?
I added it up.
Yeah. And he's an accountant, so. But anyhow, decades and decades and decades of service to this community by unbelievably dedicated professionals at every level, nurses and teachers and paras and nutrition and all of you who make us who we are. So I'm going to go through one by one. And again, if you want to share a few comments, you're welcome to. No pressure. You can turn around, sit back down, and just know that we appreciate all of you. So,
We had a slide thing?
yes, I think Paul.
Yes.
I don't know if, does that go in the right order? I have alphabetical.
Well, we'll find out.
Okay,
That is
I don't think it's
service.
alphabetical.
Yeah, it was years of service.
years of service. Okay, I can go in any order, but just so I know.
Do you want my item? The right group,
Yeah.
right?
That would be good. We have a little, few slides, so we're just trying to make sure the slides are consistent.
It's not moving. So this is, I think, the order that.
I think it says it on the.
Does that match your order?
And I don't have a tray for you, Maureen, one sec, but you're still coming up because I have a hug for you. You're my friend, my neighbor, and star nurse out of Glen. Thank you so much for everything. It's been awesome, especially in the turnaround. Seriously, especially, I mean, we appreciate everything everybody did during COVID, but seriously, nurses, and you will get a tray, yes, please.
Let me, did someone bring my book? I've got my speech that I'd like to. So I actually would like to thank Audrey LaCroix. I know that she's retiring this year. When I was hired, I had no school nursing experience. I had some experience in the hospital with adults, no pediatric experience, and she's like, sure, come on down. She has been a wonderful role model, and I thank you very much for the professionalism and friendship that you have offered. So thank you all for
Thank you for everything. We wish
recognizing
you
me.
all the best in your next phase. Thank you. Kathy Silva, oh my gosh, 11 years. I remember when we interviewed you. So that goes back a while, and you have had quite a run here at this district, and you've been so good for our students who very much need you as their advocate, and we appreciate everything that you've done for us. You're often the voice of reason, a hard worker, committed to your students, committed to this district. And I wish you all the best in your next phase. I should ask permission to hug because I know, yes.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much.
All the best. And you're welcome if you want.
I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who is sitting in this room, at the table, in the community. I've worked in many districts. This is by far my favorite. It is a gift that I got to come to the district, to be a part of an extraordinary group of people who care about kids. And it's a gift that I get to leave in my career with such a wonderful experience. So I thank you all.
Thank you. Carol Walden, 13 years. Oh my gosh. Carol Walton, 13 years devoted to service to the Ashland Public Schools. We thank you very much. Kelly, I guess, is the official photographer of the evening. So I don't know, you go by yourself. I don't want to be in everybody's picture. Thank you so much, Carol. We appreciate you. And you're welcome to say a few words if you want.
I would just like to say thank you to the community. Thanks. Okay. I just want to say thank you to the community and for giving me the opportunity to be here for all those years. I've enjoyed them.
Thank you for your service. Good luck. Claudia Bennett. Oh my gosh, Claudia.
When you go up
It
there.
says 15 years, but that's a lot, I think. Has to be. 15 years maybe as an employee of the Ashland Public Schools, but
Hey, Lori, can you,
Mike.
I'm sorry.
you're gonna have to
microphone.
move, just tip the mic
Yeah.
towards you, because it's one mic.
No, I want,
There you go.
I mean, Claudia's been a school committee member and a powerful school employee that we all adore. And honestly, most importantly, I think the model resident. You have gotten up, seriously, and spoken out on every important issue since I've been in this town. I always look to you for words of wisdom, and I know that my colleagues would agree. You are engaged. You have shared your love and your knowledge with the students of this community, and they're better for it, and you've made a huge difference, and you will continue to do so, I'm sure. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much.
We love you.
Thank you. You know, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I couldn't be more grateful than to have been a part of this community, that my husband would never have allowed us to live anywhere else. And so even though he doesn't really consider me an Ashlander, it's been an honor. It's been an honor to be with all of you in this most difficult of times, from the students to the families to our teaching staff, you know, to our administrators and the leadership that they have all shown, and Jim and Mike. You know, I won't forget, I laugh sometimes. I told Jim the day that he came into the office and said Mike was going to be assistant superintendent, and would I be? I said, if I didn't have a mask on, my mouth just hit the floor, Jim. But it's been my honor, and I thank everyone, and I hope to find some ways to continue to be, you know, helpful in this community. So thank you.
Thanks for everything. Lorraine McLaughlin, special education, 15 years. That's it? Yeah, 15 years. Wow. My goodness. Thank you so much for all you've done for Ashland and for the students, and we so very much appreciate you. And wish you the best of luck in your endeavors. And if you want, it's all yours.
Well, I'm not a speaker, but I just want to thank you. I've loved being here every minute, really, in Ashland, the students, the community, working with you guys. It's great. When I first, Susan Gala hired me, and I said, could this be a place where I could stay till I retire? And of course, she didn't answer me. And then the next 5 years, there were major budget cuts. And I was always trying to watch the school committee meeting to see what was happening, you know, would I be able to keep my job? And I'm just so grateful that I've been able to be here, watch your students, the students grow, and learn with them. And I've really loved every minute of it. So thank you.
Thank you for everything. Mary Moyna. Well, I heard this is fairly recent announcement.
Oh, yeah, yesterday.
As a result, your plate is not
Take over the edge.
Doesn't take much these days, right, Dave?
Right, yes, you're ready. That's the important thing. I just want to, on behalf of everybody, thank you so much for your many years of service.
Thank you.
We've all had our kids, some are still there. My kids all went through your building, the Washington DC
So
trip.
what? Yeah.
I mean, you probably have memories and stories that will last.
Thunderstorms
Yeah.
and deers hitting the truck, the bus,
All the good stuff.
all of the good stuff.
So, thank you for everything.
Thank you all. It's real. I really don't like microphones, but I've really enjoyed all of the years that I spent in Ashland, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm doing it, and I'm going to miss it. I'm sure it comes September, I'll be thinking, ooh, today we were talking about the DC trip and where we would have been. Tonight we would have been on the boat cruise for the dance. We probably would have had kids crying later on tonight after the boat dance. But thank you all. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I really loved being here. Thank you.
Good luck. Lisa Bowden. How are we going to eat? Lisa, 17 years, and it's been an absolute joy to get to know you. You've been such a committed part of our... Everybody needs to hear this. Thank you so much for feeding our children and our staff and ourselves, and for always having the highest standards and just being such a change maker and just being such an important part of Ashland. We're going to miss you a lot and wish you the best in your next phase.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd just really like to thank my staff a lot for all they've done, because all the success I've had in the last 17 years, I couldn't have done it without them. They're really unsung heroes who do. I was just doing, for the last 2 hours, Board of Health inspections and texting them and they're all off on their own, immediately getting back to me. Where's the key to this? What's this? They're amazing. And I'm really happy that Regina Wilkinson, who's been working with me for 6 years, will be taking the reins, and I know they're going to do a fabulous job. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Good luck. Audrey. 21 years, Audrey. Come on up. And I bet you never thought the last 2 years you'd have to like see school committee every single week. I'm so sorry. Yeah, oh, fun. And we very much appreciate, I know that the last couple of years have been, I don't even know if any of us have the right words to describe what they were, but I know that you were right in the thick of it. And honestly, I mean, I don't know how we could have gotten through it without your guidance, seriously, and support, and just direction, because none of us knew what to do about anything, and we really looked to you. I know, we were all in it together, but we really looked to you, and, you know, I don't know, there are a lot of horrible things that came from COVID, but some good things too, and we wouldn't have had the chance to work with you and Ed on that level had this not happened, so I know that there's a lot more besides that. We've got 21 years and a whole bunch of people that really appreciated working with you as well, but on behalf of the entire school committee, thank you so much.
I too want to thank everyone, especially my nursing staff. They've been awesome, so supportive. They worked very hard this last couple of years, very dedicated, and I couldn't have done it without everyone. We couldn't have all gotten through COVID but I'm going to miss you, everyone. Going to miss the kids and Washington. A little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Audrey. Deborah Connaughton, 31 years. Oh, you win the prize tonight. Oh my gosh. So I hope you are going to say a few words, right? 31 years. I don't know if anybody in this room has been around for that long, but certainly I'm sure you have stories to tell, and we very much appreciate you sticking around for that long. It certainly has been an interesting last couple of years.
Oh, it certainly has.
But we appreciate you and wish you all the best in your next phase.
Thank you. Yes, it has been a very long time, and I would like to say thank you to all of the, teachers, all the people that I got to work with. I see faces here, kids that were in school when I first was there, or not first there, probably 20 years, and now you're here. I do also have DC trips too. They were fun. When we had 7th grade at our school, we did the DC trips, and I had the privilege to go, which was a blast. We had so much fun. And, just being an ESP all these years, I got to work with so many different teachers and so many different children. And now being in sub-separate for the last 7 years, that's, just been a real challenge, but also what gets you up every day. And I don't know how I'm going to be when it comes time in September, and I'm not coming back. But, I'm just getting too old. Thank you very much.
31 years, I think you put in your time, and wishing you all the best. Yes, and we have a couple other people that aren't here. I don't know if they're on Zoom, but I do want to say just a few words, just in case they ever watch. I mean, Melissa Mercon-Smith, the extended day program, I don't even know what to say about Melissa. She did such an amazing job with that program for so many years. My kids went, I don't know if any of you also, my daughter worked for that program. It is so well run, and the kids that would come in and perform for us, that was always such a joy. And decades of service from Melissa. That was a top-notch program. We miss you, Melissa, if you're watching, and really appreciate you and everything about you. I hope you're having a great time with your retirement, and please come back and visit us.
So do we, hold on one second. If we should let them speak if they are on Zoom, but
yeah, I can't tell.
Presenting, I can't cut back to.
It's just here, if you don't have a second page of
attendees. You only have 7 attendees, so I think it's,
Okay.
And then there's also Ms. McCarrick.
And Ms. McCarrick, there's one more.
Yep.
So
And she's not on either, right? Okay.
33 years. I guess I misspoke. Maybe she wins the prize. I certainly remember her. I mean, my kids are all adults. I have a 30-year-old, and they all had Miss McCarrick as a gym teacher. So, you know, she's also been just such a fixture in Ashland, and we wish you all the best in your next phase, and thank you for all your many years in dedicated service to Ashland.
And I actually have a little story about her dedication. So, as you all know, when my daughter had spinal fusion surgery, Teresa came to the hospital. And
Wow.
Drove all the way into Boston to say hello to her and do that. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. That's something. So, is that the last one?
I believe that is last.
All right. Before I say dismiss anyone who wants to leave, does anybody else have anything that they want to say? I've been doing all the talking.
Just thank you to everybody for your service to the district.
Thank you all. We very much appreciate you. You will be missed, and we hope you have a great next phase of your life. Keep us posted.
and we hope you know how much you're all appreciated. You've all made an incredible impact on our district and the students here, and you'll be missed. Absolutely.
Indeed. Thank you.
Thank you all.
So nobody needs to stick around. We're moving next to the, first I'll offer public comment for any, is there anybody here who wants to give public comment? Thanks, everybody. See, she is a good teacher.
Yeah.
I know, isn't that crazy?
That's the quote of the night.
Yeah. Maybe the year, right?
One more shout out for public comment. I didn't think I saw or heard anybody, but just to make sure before I move on.
That would be on Zoom as well.
Yep,
I don't know if,
but I don't see anybody there who looks like they want to say anything, so I'm going to move right on to the principal reports update on site council work. If you all figured out who wants to go first, I know Dave has somewhere to be. Would you rather be, does it matter?
That's fine.
Do you want to go and then you can scoot?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's my scooting?
Yeah.
Thank you, Laurie.
Sure.
Good evening, everyone. I know they just left too, but congratulations to all of our retirees. It's an impressive group, an impressive amount of years. So let me get my, I used 16 font and I still can't read it, so I'm going to get my glasses on. So just to talk about our site council, some of the work that we've done and the work we're going to be doing moving forward, to talk about that. I think one change for this year, we are excited and grateful that the MCAS testing this year went back to normal. And as much as you can argue about MCAS tests and what it takes off of time for learning, it gives us a nice snapshot of those students in English, math, and in science. So the last 2 years, we haven't had a full complement of data coming from the tests, with a year being canceled and a year being just one session, essentially half the test. And we've been using that test to measure growth for our students as they go through the years. So we're looking forward to getting that data so we can sort of reset those goals, so next year's improvement plan goes back to really looking at student growth. And that's really valuable data that we use. This past year, we looked at just whether they were meeting or not meeting expectations. So we focused our interventions and improvement plans on that. So that's one of the things we talked about, and that's one change that we're seeing back going into next year's improvement plan, which happened 3 years ago. So that's definitely something we spent a lot of time talking about. I'm not going to talk too much about COVID, but we spent plenty of time talking about that and some of the changes and policies that went back into place. We've been spending a lot of time talking about the DEI work we've been doing at the middle school, so the trainings that administration has been going through. Our staff has received 2 trainings on DEI from Des and Chris, as well as other trainings from other organizations around how to support our underserved populations of English language learners, as well as implementing social justice in the classroom and just arming them with some resources. So we spent some time talking about that and getting some ideas of things we could share and make an impact. It focused on our EL population, generated some ideas how we can connect with those families. So a couple of action items that we can do in outreach before next September, and put together an evening, get a translator, and so we'll make some extra efforts to make connections with those families. We're looking forward to that. And also part of the achievement goal I have in there is examining our programming and our schedule. We spent a lot of time this year talking and looking at class sizes, world language programming, just overall programming. So moving forward, that's one of the items that we'll be tackling in the fall. So we've certainly talked a lot about that this year, but that's going to be next year. That continues. That's going to be next year's work as well. Faculty and student well-being. Talking about the Metro Health Survey, we looked at data that we were coming in from surveys that the Metro West data is just coming in now. We sort of had preliminary summary results that we've discussed, and already actually have some goal items that we're putting into place. As you could probably predict, a lot around cyberbullying, some online concerns, mental health, as you might imagine, depression, suicidal ideation. So we're going to continue that and increase that programming. So we spent a lot of time talking about those programs and also how to share it to families and how we can share what we're doing and present information to families. And I'll be working with Jen Cutler, meeting with her this summer, as how we can put those into place. So I look forward to that. And the last goal, communication, and that's something we're going to continue to do. We put together some questions that I'll be sending out in a communication survey at the end of this year. So we do that each year, but this year is great because I'll be meeting with ESMER before the next school year, just generating some ideas of what can we do differently. Here's what families are looking for, and how can we implement this in a way that's creative, in a way that they want to receive it, in a way that's easily accessible. So we look forward to going through that data when we get back. And obviously I'll be meeting with ESMER and setting future goals around that. So that's kind of an overview of our 3 goals and some of the work that we've been doing, but also some of the work we'll be doing in the fall.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and just open it up to questions on any of those items.
Questions? Comments?
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
And then I'm going to scoop.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead. Have fun tonight.
Thanks.
Don't start early. Don't start early.
I've not started early. Thank you.
Kelly?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Good to be here. I echo congratulating the retirees. They were all talking about the 8th grade Washington trip, and part of our banquet, senior banquet, is we give the 8th graders their blue books back, their journals, and we did that last night, and it's the best part of the banquet because they reminisce where they were, and it's going to be hard not being able to do that the next couple of years. But anyway, our school improvement plan, we spent some time in our April meeting. Actually, it was our April meeting, really focusing on what we were able to accomplish and the things that we realized we just couldn't because of the last 3 years. Obviously, we were supposed to be in the 3rd year of our plan, so we talked about some of the things that we need to continue working on. Our first goal is in the area of health and well-being for all. We are in the process of our JED interdisciplinary team and evaluation, so we're excited to be part of that program. And so just about 2 weeks ago, we finished some focus groups, students, parents, faculty. We completed kind of a really full evaluation that we hope before the school year ends, they will be providing us with some information. And we shared evaluations or, assessments that we've done in the past, like Metro West Adolescent Health Survey, et cetera. So we're hoping to get a really good picture back from them of what we do to support the health and well-being of all our students, and how we can kind of really move forward with a real concrete plan on how to, do it in the most effective way possible. I think we do a lot of great things, but we want to make sure we're doing it with a really good focus. We have done a lot of great work that we put under that area as well with the CARES team, and really I feel like had a really successful year bringing our students into that process, and want to make sure we keep moving forward with that. Students have been very involved, both in the CARES team and some of the PD we've been offering to staff that's been district-wide. So it's given us a good vision and some things to look forward to in the future with how we keep our students incorporated. Our second goal was around, creating college and career readiness. And, this was a challenging year for academics, and we did have to scale back some of the things we're offering for all students in terms of academics to make sure that we had more core academic classes for some of our students. I would say, talking to many of the teachers, of course, even at the high school level, math and reading are certainly areas of concern. But when we talked about it, we were able to do some good work and really spend some time focusing on what the students need to keep moving forward and be successful. We look forward to seeing what our MCAS scores look like in the coming year. We were also back to a regular cycle and regular administration this year. We talked about part of our plan has been to really focus on some common planning time, so those teachers that teach the same classes can really have some more dedicated time to plan. So I think we would certainly plan to keep working towards that, and we are in the process of building our schedule now and really focusing on that piece. We implemented XBlock this year, which was supposed to help focus on both of those areas, both the academic and social-emotional needs of our students. And we will be sharing some surveys with students, teachers, and parents probably after graduation, which is in a couple days. So sometime in the next 2 weeks. Our faculty will be voting. The current XBlock schedule was based on the vote from the faculty based their slight schedule change, their planning time. So they will be voting again to see if it's something we will continue, and we're going to use some survey data. But it certainly is a time that I feel that we can use to help some students academically, help them have some social emotional breaks if they need it and supports. And hopefully we hope to, if it continues, build in that time to maybe have some teachers be able to connect. And I think XBlock was the time we talked about college and career readiness. Our counseling staff did an amazing job this year using that time to bring in colleges, to bring in different professions to speak to students about what is out there and what their best options are. And they've had tremendous success with that. Our other areas are continuing to look at, our community connections. And again, I go back to some of the things we were able to do with XBlock with bringing in different community members. We also had some job fairs during that time. And just as recently as last week, our reality fair was an amazing time for students to make connections. And thank you to those of you that were there. It's always an amazing day for our students. Finally, we talk about bringing in highly qualified educators, and something that we have been working on is really making sure that we have a robust support system for our teachers and a peer observation system. And I don't think that happened as much as we wanted to have happen this year, just with because COVID went in a way we didn't expect, so the teachers will say in their reflections they didn't get to spend as much time as they would like to with each other, but that is something we will continue to pursue. That's it.
Any questions?
Thanks, Kelly.
Kelly, I have one question.
Sure.
On the mental health surveys, did you see a marked difference between this year's freshman class and like your pre-COVID freshman classes?
In terms of survey results or just in general? We don't have survey results back yet.
Okay.
That's part of the challenge with the surveys. And we did 2 surveys this year. One, obviously the Metro West Adolescent Health Survey. We also did the Positive Community Norm Survey. We just got the initial results back from, the full results back from the Metro West end of last week. So I haven't had a chance to really go through and compare previous years. I will say there has been a difference just, from what we see day to day. Yep. And then we hope to have the Positive Norms results back in July. Okay, thanks.
All right, so, and first I just want to thank our committee members, and they were parent Ryan Garnick. He is a 3rd grade student at Mindes. Gabby Abrams with a 5th grade student at Mindes. Kira Garrettson, a teacher, Barbara Girardi, one of our EL teachers, and Megan McGuire, one of our counselors, and Todd Kittlestein as a ad hoc member. So I want to thank them for their time. A lot of the conversations we had this year were around certainly trying to come back into a more normal atmosphere that wasn't always normal, and also the excitement of having a new building and a new leader for that building, gratefully. So we spent a lot of time on those conversations. We continued this year we implemented the DESA, which is the Devereaux Student Strengths Assessment. That was the first time that our counselors had used that tool. We got back some interesting information. It was the first time the teachers had used it as well. So next year that will be an ongoing process. We hope to be able to use it a little more effectively, a little sooner in the school year, so that we can indeed support our students to the best of our ability. And then we're also looking for a tool that would, one of the things we found this year was that sometimes I would hear from parents, they would talk about their student, and they would hear different things from their student than we would even rate them on what we were seeing at school. So we did start to explore with Mrs. Cutler a tool where students could assess themselves. And so we will continue to work on that as well. You know, social emotional learning really is, there's nothing that happens in schools or probably in the world without that in place. So when we talk about trying to involve and engage our students, our families, our communities as partners in learning, to try to be more inclusive and you know, be more culturally aware, that too is one of our goals for next year. And we, I think, are next in line. I was looking around for Mike or Jim, but we're next in line to get some of the more formal training for our staff, so we're looking forward to that. And certainly, the other thing about engaging our community and our families is there's not going to be a better time, I don't think, for David Mendez School to do that with a new building about to open, new leadership. It's just a very exciting time. And I think it will be a great opportunity for us, again, to engage all aspects of our community, all of our EL families that we struggle sometimes to engage. Our team did this year put together what we called sort of a cheat sheet for our EL families when they join us, and some things that might be really important to them that we assume people know coming in, and they really don't. So that's going to be an important part, having a new administration and opening a new building. Really, it's as you well know, it happens not very frequently. So that's exciting. Also, in terms of the SEL pieces this year, Dave uses the Middlesex Partnership for Youth to do a little social media and online training. We hadn't done that, but we did start to see a little uptick. We had forced kids onto social media and onto computers and using technology in the pandemic. And so we really started to see a little uptick in some of the things that were happening with group text messages and things that start off innocent, but before you know it, they go south. So we did have a gentleman come in and present to the 5th graders. It was a very good presentation. I'm not sure that it will make a huge difference for those that were already using social media, but I think for certainly those who were just, putting their toes in the water on that, they will think twice certainly about some things. And so he really did a great job, and we did think about then bringing it down to 3rd and 4th graders. They do have, so that will be something that we will look forward to maybe doing next year. There are certainly aspects of it that, you're always, with these kiddos so young, you're always thinking about, what conversations should we have and what are they maybe not quite ready for. And really there's a broad difference among even students of the same age. So that's something that we are very sensitive to, but we certainly talked a lot about where our students are in terms of the world of social media. In terms of, certainly we did a tremendous amount of work again in literacy this year. It was tremendous having a coach And one of the things that she did do, I mean, I think we should both need our own coaches, but one of the things that she did was she was a bridge between us and Warren. And sometimes she would come to Mindes and talk about what they were doing there. And it was really helpful to have that insight. Even though we try to have it vertically, sometimes it's challenging to make time for those vertical meetings and that. And so she been a huge help in that. We have started training our third grade teachers in Foundations, which is the program that the Warren School has used this year. And we actually have some more being trained next week. Additionally, by the end of the summer and early fall, we will have trained our EL teachers, our special educators, our reading specialists in that program as well. And additionally, some will also be trained in Hegarty, which is an intervention tool. So we are excited about that. In math, I too am in some ways looking forward to the MCAS results. What was interesting last year, I think in ELA and math too, they took the two, there's always two parts, and they took part one and gave it to half the students and part two gave it to the other half. So it's really hard now to look at some of that data because I definitely saw a correlation in students who took one of the two parts. There was definitely, must have been, I don't know if it was easier, but it was different. And you saw different results. So this year I look forward in particular to get those results regarding math. We did use a new math program this year, and so it was challenging. It was very rigorous, and our teachers, particularly for the third grade, had certain things that were taught in a different sequence, which they struggled with. But I can tell you that almost all of the students coming out of the math MCAS said to us that was way easier than Envisions, and they felt good about it. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing those results. Let's see. Let me make sure I don't forget anything here. And finally, I think in terms of educator excellence, in part, we are looking at one of the things that was different this year for us. Was that without the multi-grade group, we no longer had enough specialists to provide common planning time every single day. We were able to maintain one period a week for the grade level teachers to come together for common planning time by some creative scheduling. We will continue, I think, to do that next year. And what we have been discussing in our meetings is that maybe it was always competing. We had competing things going on at that time. So we'd have our response to intervention meetings. So sometimes you'd have 3 or 4 teachers who were involved in that meeting and therefore not in the common planning time. So what we talked about was maybe creating a schedule that would allow once a month you have all your RTI meetings in that week for all the grade levels, and then another week you do your data focused meetings. And then another week you might talk about curriculum planning and that kind of thing. So designating each CPT week to a different topic might be one way to solve that. So that was one of the things that we talked about, exploring next year. And some months you don't even have common planning time because we don't get it in every single week because you have several early release days, things like that impact it. So I think designating it might be certainly an approach, and that's something that we were planning on trying. So I think I hit all the high points. Oh, one more thing that we spent a lot of time on is recess. So recess, has been the little bit of a loss at Mindes. We were blessed with a huge field, a nice play structure that we have sacrificed for now. But I thank the PTO. They were able to provide us with two basketball hoops that Tyler Landscape, a gentleman with a student in the Warren School, was able to install for us. He actually added a little pavement up top so that they'd have a little more area to bounce the ball on. Those have been a big hit. Our PE teachers went out and made 4 squares. The game 4 square did about 6 of those, so the students use those a lot. They will need to be refreshed. We bought some equipment. And
let me interrupt you, Claudia. Just
Oh, you're
Oh,
leaving,
so
that's
I
okay.
gotta go to the middle school.
And by the way, Mark, I keep looking over at Dave and he's gone. Some of the students and teachers came back the other day and one of them said, we had these two awesome leaders or tour guides up at the middle school, and they said, yeah, I think one's last name was Goss, so I think that was Peter, or maybe it's Jane. I guess it was Jane,
Probably
actually,
Jane,
yeah. I realized it must have been Jane. And then the other one said, I think it was Terry. So that must have been Kate, so tell her we said thank you. They were very impressed with her,
Good night, folks.
her skills. All right, so I think that's all I have. Any questions? And I know that our new principal will be happy to come on board and be able to, we're trying to have some things in place, and yet nothing that she can't alter as she sees fit. So, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Claudia.
And for the minutes, that was 6:46 that Mark.
Oh, sorry. They're over here scoring me too, so.
No, just for the minutes as far as when Mark left, not.
Oh, sorry.
Not I wasn't timing you.
6 minutes and 46
Mark
seconds.
may have
Timing
been.
you, but.
You can go on as long as you want, Laura.
Yeah.
So Pete had me jump ahead because he wants to bring it all together, I
All
guess,
right.
at the end.
Big finish, huh?
But speaking for preschool, this is actually the first time we've actually split. We used to have a joint site council with Pitaway and Warren, but due to COVID and scheduling and meeting times, we decided to split. So the Pitaway group was a little bit smaller this year. We had 2 parent representatives, Pam McQuillan and Ronnie Pye. And then our staff representatives were Tricia Tomaso and Laura McMahon. So it was a nice opportunity for us to really reflect on how we continued to navigate COVID and it being a little bit unique in a preschool setting with a highly unvaccinated population due to their age, and how we kind of navigated that to keep our in-person learning. And then also how to kind of continue the work of our plan. As Kelly mentioned, we were midway in our multi-year plan as well. So we had some successes aligning with the district and specifically the K-5 and the ELA program. We purchased foundations, exposure kits for the pre-K level last year and rolled out some phonics letter sound cards as part of our circles in morning meetings. And we've also joined the K-5 kind of initiative for responsive classroom. Over the past few years, we've been able to teach a few teachers in Mike in the curriculum's office summer course, and then they've been workshopping that for PD for us to be able to roll that out, to have consistent language and support for kiddos that move up to the Warren School. So that's been really awesome. And we also spent a lot of time really reflecting on professional development at the preschool level. It's very hard in a pre-K through 12 district to find meaningful preschool professional development that can focus on literacy and social emotional learning and various curriculums. So we had a group of professionals use that as their professional practice goal to really research different preschool developmentally appropriate social emotional learning opportunities, as well as other ways to supplement literacy activities in the classroom. The parent group was really helpful in re-energizing our parent involvement and looking forward to next year to doing a reset, because over the last 2.5 years, a lot of our parents will be moving on to Warren but have very little experience in our school buildings. And that's been really hard. We had to suspend a lot of our in-person activities. Our PTO is fabulous. They used to do monthly family events where it might be a hoedown or a cultural event, or play dates. They were successful in having 4 quarterly play dates at the preschool playground, which was super well attended. But for our conferences in March, it was the first time parents had seen classrooms other than from photos or from quick videos. So thinking about how to do some surveys next year, bringing them in, talking about the importance of them partnering in their children's education and being part of the community as well as like the daily classroom. So they've got some great ideas about some surveys that we're starting with our new family orientation as soon as June 21st, when we'll be inviting in our new enrollees for September, and really trying to bring them back into the classroom and getting involved into the day-to-day of the school system. We're continuing with foundations and integrity next year for our curriculum. We're also working with Jen Cutler on some district social emotional learning curriculums and making sure that we have a seat at the table as we're looking at the vertical curriculum in finding some good developmentally appropriate materials for us at Pitaway. Any questions for me?
Questions? Thank
No?
you.
Thank you so much.
Pete, you're on.
I don't know, Pete, you set our expectations pretty high.
Let's see.
That's
Ready?
how I like to do
Go.
it. To thank the family, the parents who were part of our council as well. Kate Altman as a non-voting member, Tiffany Farrell, one of our staff members, Ryan Garnick, a parent, Kerry Kober, staff member, Ben Crete, a parent, Kristen Quern, a parent, Donna Shaw as our community rep, and Daria Tucker. They did some amazing work this year as we really kept a laser focus on reading instruction. And the bulk of our work was around improving our reading instruction for all children. With the Foundations initiative that went through, we were able to train every adult in the building that works with children. And then also just recently we rolled out Hegarty as well. This is something that we actually started about a month and a half ago with training all of our kindergarten assistants, where Kate Altman actually put on that professional development. And our kindergarten ESPs started running this before we even received the formalized training. And now all staff members have been trained. We continued as well, as you heard from the other schools, to work with Jen Cutler, and the DESA took place at Warren as well. So we were able to look at beginning of the year data, end of the year data, and we did see improvements because no different than the reading instruction, we were able to make small group targeted instruction. And we were able to focus on student needs instead of looking at the middle and looking at actual children and saying these are the children that need this specific skill. Another huge piece that our council did is looked at the fact that 2/3 of our parent population had never stepped foot in the Warren School, and worked closely about how to troubleshoot for parents that were accessing things online, about how to share more about our culture and our values of our school. And then as the times changed, it was constantly evolving and making those shifts. You know, as we were one of the schools that moved back to dining room, being at lunch tables, and what that means for our families and our children. And our site council was instrumental in this and getting the parent input in their conversations that they were having with neighbors, friends, and people from their portions of the community. It continued to go from there, where they've created a great blueprint of what we need to do next year to make sure that all families feel welcome and that they understand those core values that we have of just being part of Ashland. Any questions?
Pete, will some of like the very traditional Warren events, like the literacy night and those sort of things, will those be able to make a comeback next year?
They will, and actually we'll be bringing back the second grade farewell. It's going to be coming back
nice.
this year.
Yeah. It's coming back this year, you said?
This year.
Little by little. It's coming back. Thanks,
Thanks.
Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
All right. Thank you all. That's always really helpful to get a handle on what's going on in all your buildings. And thank you to all the site council members in all the buildings and all the principals for the reports. We appreciate it. The Give Kids the World Trip 2023. Who's presenting on that? Anybody? Or are we just... Okay, it's a great trip. I can
I was just gonna say, I think you should present on it. You know the
Yes.
most about it.
You guys have heard about it. This isn't anything new. The students have been taking it for years. Kids have come back and reported on it. This is just permission to take it again. It looks like November is the plan. I've done it myself, so I can personally vouch for it. It is an incredible experience for students. Fabulous chaperones. And
You're one of them. I mean.
no, it's a great trip. So if anyone has any questions, Kelly's also been on the trip, and so one of us could probably answer it, but if there are no concerns, we can take a motion and a vote. Anybody?
I don't think so. I move to approve the student travel request form, Ashland High School Make-A-Wish Club to travel to Kissimmee, Florida to participate in the Give the Kids the World program, November 9th through the 13th. That should be 2023, but it's just 2022.
No, it's 2022.
Oh, no, 2022, that's right.
Yeah. Second.
Yeah, accept. All in
Jake.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes.
I do have one question. It said that there's another chaperone TBD once we gave the okay. Is it a teacher chaperone or is it an adult?
I don't make those decisions, so I
Okay.
have no idea. I think it depends on, I think Miss Shields makes that call.
Okay.
And it's probably based on a lot of different things, availability and interest and, no? Seriously, it's
Claudia's going to be free.
I was just gonna say, that would be a great fit.
It's a life-changing experience. And it's also something anybody, if people don't know this, you can do it like outside of a trip, like an organized trip. If you're in the Orlando area, if you have to do a query or something similar to that, but outside of that, you can just go and do whatever jobs they happen to have available that day, and it's an amazing experience. I will say, I mean, this last time was a little different. You know, they've been impacted by COVID like the rest of us, but even more so because these are critically ill and chronically ill and terminally ill children, right, and families. So I think there was less than half of the population that was normally there. And so, you know, the vibe was a little bit different, but you need to start somewhere, you know, bringing everybody back. And so that was a good step in the right direction. Hopefully they're doing even better now, and that they'll be up and running full speed, you know, by the time the next trip rolls around. But it's a great opportunity to help families, and the organization is run mostly by volunteers, and it's very well organized, you know, and volunteers do everything. They drive buses, they deliver pizza, they serve food, they wash dishes, they clean up, they run amusement park rides. There's all kinds of different jobs, and there's very good training for all of them, and you get to be with kids and families who, this could be the one trip they've taken in their entire life, right? And families that need a break and really appreciate it. So anyhow, that's my PSA for Give Kids the World. It's a great opportunity to go if you can. So.
Great.
Okay, next up, warrant approvals.
Between May 20th, 2022 and June 2nd, 2022, I, Paul Kendall, authorized by my signature payables in the amount of $741,069.49. This includes general fund expenses of $614,820.45, revolving expenses of $103,706.04, and grant expenses of $22,543. I also signed off on $2,591,134.97 of payroll.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Does anybody have anything on the May 19th, 2022 minutes?
No.
Motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Tina?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
An aye for me. Gifts and donations.
We have gifts and donations, Ashland Education Foundation in the amount of $10,460.52 to create a hybrid sensory room for students at Warren School.
Wow, awesome. Motion to accept?
So moved. Oh my God, thank you, AEF. I have two kids with sensory issues, and like there was never a space like that for them. That's just so amazing.
It's a wonderful gift, and they've been very generous to this district, so thanks for all you do, Abe. Aye.
I'll second.
And all in favor, Tina?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
An aye for me, thank you. And then member updates? Anybody?
The only update I have is last night there was a meeting of the Ashland, I was just going to say, correct me if I say it wrong, the Ashland Bilingual Parents Advisory Council. Did I do it right? Okay, got it. Which is an up-and-coming group that Kathy has so wonderfully pulled together of parents of bilingual families. Most of their kids, many of their children are EL students. And our new director of EL came to the meeting last night too. It was held on Zoom, so she had the opportunity to engage with the parents who were there, and it was just a nice kind of casual conversation for everyone to get to know each other. And so I'm excited to see that group grow. Kathy's done a great job getting it off the ground, so I'm excited to see it continue.
Excellent, thanks, Tina. Anybody else?
As Kelly mentioned, there was the reality fair, so I participated in that again. That's always just a positive. I mean, the emails go back and forth with the volunteers. They're just all positive. And I will share my screen. I'll share some.
Can I throw in another note about the reality fair? I was there too, and I just have to say how impressive our graduates are. The conversations that I had with every student who came through the booth that I was working at they were engaging and funny and just really insightful, and it was really great to see their maturity and their excitement, for their next step. And so I think the program is so well put together. I think it gives them a really great dose of reality, right? And it was just really fun to engage with all of them, so well done.
So for Mendez, we are finishing up the foundations this week, so all the foundation work will be done. They'll start backfilling. Steel's been going for 2 weeks now, so this is kind of the front corner, and it's going like gangbusters right now. It's a big change. Why is that not moving? There we go. So as you go around the building, you'll get a feel for it. This
Amazing.
is on. So this is kind of looking back towards it from where the parking lot will be, and this is from back there. So this would be essentially in the one of the academic pods looking back at the main. So they start in the west, so that's where the gymnasium and everything is. Kind of just a look of underneath it in the back corner. So you're looking back towards Mendez there. Give you an idea of how much we're going into the hillside. Those steps where you see will all be buried. So that's where the grid, it will be backfilled back to that. So this is up on the hill looking back down at that.
Same on that side, Paul?
Is
Those
that-
steps? Because they don't have the same stuff on them, but will that also be buried?
Yeah. So that's the waterproofing and things. So they're still working on placement of that. And then I also added this. So this is the beam that we will be signing and raising on June 13th. So they are continuing with steel, like I said. We're tying into water service on Fisk Road next week. So things are continuing over there. So if at some point we want to have a site walk, we can do that.
Oh, that would be good. Well, the weather's nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Anybody else?
Unfortunately, I had to miss the reality fair. I was signed up for it, but I buried my dad this weekend in Maine, and so I couldn't do the reality fair and then make the trip. It's it ends up being almost 4 hours on holiday weekends, so I'm sad to miss it. But I'm really glad you had a good experience. I know, Paul, you've had a good one as well.
Yeah, no, I've done it a couple of years. It's a lot of fun.
I've done it before. It's an amazing event, really. It's well organized and lots of people participate, and it's great for the students.
Yeah.
And for the adults, I mean, to come back and be able to do some.
Including students that used to run it that are now back as volunteers.
So great. There were some former students there
I love
at the
it.
booth. That was really awesome.
Yeah. So thank you.
Unfortunately, I won't be able to be here. I have to be in Budapest for work.
You have to be in Budapest?
Yeah. Sorry.
What a bummer.
The week of the beam raising, but thank you to Esmer and Claudia. They're going to make sure that I can sign the beam before I go.
Oh, awesome.
So I'll sign it next week at some point.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Have a great trip.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? All right. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tina seconded. Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Good night.
Paul, am I supposed to hold on to this, or is that,
It's got to get back to.
Okay. When are you going next? You're okay, so I'll hold on to it. Yeah. Who's acting with it? Oh. So.
Or I got to be there as a family.
You did?
My oldest.
Really? I didn't know that,
My
Pete.
little one didn't want to go there, but my oldest did.
That was what he chose for his wish? What'd you think?
It was incredible.
Isn't it amazing? Like,
So you remember the movie where it started?
yes.
I had to leave that.
Yeah. I know.
So my wife had to stand there with 3 kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do this.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it was just, for me, it hit everyone in the same way.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Can't even imagine. Yeah.
And the volunteers.
The people that we meet there, I mean, I've met volunteers that have been doing it for decades. Like, they make it part of their weekly, you know, it really is an amazing place. Yeah. I'm glad you got to go there. And it's hard to describe what it is.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
You need to
All right, good night, thank you. And then for you,
Yeah, I'll right away.